We'll start off with the standard stuff. You are going to need the return 0 for this. We're going to be using a library called SDL, and it's a C-based library. It is not C++, so it requires that you put that return 0 there. And also in here, you're going to put int argc, comma, char pointer args. I said pointer, that's asterisks. Alright, we're going to have to make some modifications to our project. On these computers, we have a library called SDL installed. And so if you were to look at the C drive, you can see there's a SDL2 folder here. If you wanted to put this on your own home computer, I recommend just copying this folder off of your computer and then putting it on your flash drive or whatever. That makes it a whole lot easier, and then you can paste it on your own computer to the C drive. You can download all these files that we're going to be using off of the internet, but they kind of come in 3 or 4 different pieces, and so we have it already bundled up together here, so it's just a lot easier to copy this than to go fetch them all off the internet. So if you want to put this on your own computer, that's what I would do. Let's go to your project, right click on that and go to properties. And we're going to go to C++. And up at the top here it says additional include directories. I'm going to click on that, click on the down arrow and click on edit. Alright, and then you're going to click on this folder that says new line. And then you click on this little box with the ellipses in it. And we're going to go to that C drive, SDL2, and then click include. Select that folder. Click OK. And then go to linker and click input. Actually, I missed one. Go back up to C++ general here. Alright, never mind. I put this in the wrong place. Sorry, we could scrap that. Although I don't think it will hurt anything. What we want to do is VC++ directories. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to put it under include directories here. So you can do edit, new folder, ellipses, this PC, C drive, SDL2, include. And then 2 lines down you have library directories. We're going to do something similar. Edit, new, ellipses, this computer, C drive, SDL2, and click on lib, and lib's going to open up into 86 and 64. We'll just do 86. Select that. Click OK. So this is what you should be showing here under VC++ directories. You should have your SDL2 include and SDL2 lib x86. Is everybody on board, or am I going too fast? We're good? Next, we'll go down to linker and go down to input. And up at the very top it says additional dependencies. Click on that. Click edit. We're going to type a few things. Type sdl2.lib, sdl2main.lib, and sdl2_mixer.lib.
.main?
Not .main, sdl2main.lib.
SDL2_mixer?
I think so. I might be wrong about the underscore. We'll find out in a minute. But when you type all that in, click OK. And click OK. Wait, we'll set our system. Set your subsystem to console. And then we'll type in main SDL_init. Sorry, we need to include SDL up at the top. Up at the top, pound include SDL.h and pound include SDL_mixer.h. Now in main, SDL_init, and then cap lock SDL_init_everything. Now let's just see if this will compile. Okay, it compiles. And it's going to give us an error message saying a DLL is missing. But we can deal with that. So back over here in the File Explorer, you want to make your way to the SDL2 folder.
I think we cannot open SDLH nor mixer.
This line initializes SDL, that gets everything up and rolling. We're going to initialize the mixer, I think. So we'll do mix underscore init. And then inside here we'll put Okay, in here you're going to put the type of file you're going to be using. So if you're using an MP3, which I figure most of us will, do mix underscore init underscore MP3. Okay, if you're using a combination of files, you can pipe that together with other ones. So if you were going to use a FLAC file, you could do underscore init underscore FLAC. Or OGG if you're using OGG files, and you can pipe as many together as you want like that. But if you're just doing MP3s, you probably only need the MP3. And the next we're going to do mix underscore open audio, and you want to put your frequency here. So common frequency is 44,100, and then the format you can do default. Wait, now give me just a second. Yeah, default's fine. So mix underscore default underscore format. If you're wondering how I'm getting this information, I'm reading it off the SDL wiki in the API, and they have some startup stuff there that'll show you what this means and what your options are, and things like this. But most of what I'm doing right now is pretty standard. And then our last is the chunk size, and this is like how much memory you want to allocate for the sound that you're playing. Just start with 4096, that's what they recommend. If you have trouble with it, you can try 1024 or something like that, but I think 4096 is fine. I'm missing one argument. Channels 2. Sorry, there should have been a comma 2 in there. That's good. Alright, and that's all the setup that we need. Next thing we need to do is put our file where we can find it. So if you want to, you can open your project in the File Explorer. That's the next to last option down there. And you can drag your MP3 over into that folder.
Open my project and click on what?
So you right click on your project and you go down to the next to last option. It says Open Folder in File Explorer. And that's your project. So you can drag your music off of your desktop or wherever you saved it and throw it inside that folder. Okay, and then we'll do mix underscore load. You can do load music or you can do load wave. So if it was a wave file or sound effect, you would do load wave, but if you're loading it in as music, do MUS. And you give it the file name. I think mine was test music.mp3. It's a capital L. I'm going mix. The load function is going to return a pointer. I know we haven't covered pointers yet, but it's going to return a pointer or an address to this audio. So it's going to store it in memory somewhere, and then it's going to return that address wherever that audio has been stored. And we store that as a mix music asterisk, and then call it whatever you want. This is your variable name. And then you can do a mix underscore play music and pass it your music, and maybe this will work.
Yeah, probably.
Sorry, play music is going to take the music and the number of times you want it to loop. So if you do, you can come in. You're late.
I know.
I know.
I was in the other class.
And then the number of loops you want there. If you don't want it to loop, you just put a 0, and that should work. So let's see if I can hear music playing. Okay, we still have DLL errors, so let's fix that. Alright, to fix the DLL errors, you still want this folder where your project is, where you can get to it pretty easy. And if you want to, you can do this, right click, open folder in File Explorer again. That will take you right here. From here, you want to go to the C drive. Is everyone following along? You're going to the C drive. You're going to SDL2. You're going to that lib folder. You're going to go to the x86, and this is important. If you click x64, you're going to get the wrong DLLs and it will not work. Go to x86. Now you're going to click type. Type is going to arrange all the files of the same type together. So that puts all the DLLs up at the top. And you want to select all of those, all the way down to zlib1. Copy these guys. And paste those back in your project folder. Paste. So when you're done, it should look something like that. And now you can run the project again. The return 0 is going to kill it before we hear the music. I'm going to do like a CN. I'm going to do a system pause. Incorrect audio format.
I figured we were about in the same place, so when you send it back over, because you were fixing to do sound. So.
Oh, I already did sound.
You did?
Yeah,
I thought
well,
you said you were fixing to do sound.
well,
Now you have to-
I'm 90% done. But I recorded it.
Oh, okay. Be nice.
So in input, you want to scrap anything that we had with SDL, and you want to put win mm.lib as your additional dependency.
WIN?
Win multimedia. Win mm.lib. Click OK. Click OK. Up at the top, you want to include windows.h.
We just scrap all the SDL stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can leave main as it was, or you can reduce it to normal main. It doesn't matter. Okay, I just want to remind you, it's important that you have your WAV file in your project folder. Again, you don't need all the DLLs because that was the SDL2 version. But you do need your WAV file in your project folder.
Yeah. What did you change in the properties page? I was a little behind.
You go to linker, input, and up here under additional dependencies, you're going to type winmm.lib.
I just changed the file to a WAV file.
Okay, thank you.
It won't work. Just try to uncompress it.
Okay. And then in main, or wherever you want to play a sound, you're going to type play sound, and then you follow it up with this right here. It's going to say text in all caps. You put your file name there in quotes, and you add a comma. And you put null, and you add a comma. And then you're going to put this macro sound underscore file name. And that will do it. For color, you're going to have two lines. You're going to get a handle to your console. You only need to do this once. So that can pretty much go anywhere you want. You only need to do this once. Okay, and then you can tell it to set the console attribute as often as you like. So you're going to just pass in your handle and some color, and I think you have up to 256 colors. I don't know, let's just try 100 here. It'll start changing the background eventually though. Yeah, so if you put that in hex, I think you can differentiate easier between the foreground and the background. So maybe it's OX, FA. That's 8-bit. I think that's right. So if I change the A to a 0, everyone familiar with hex? I'm gonna quit playing the sound because it does pause the thread. So the first color is your foreground. You have 0 through F. And then your second one is the background. Also 0 through F. So I can do A0. That should be a black background. No, I got it backwards. I got it backwards. So there we go. Yeah, the first character, A through F, is your background. The second is your foreground, A through, or 0 through F. And so you could do something like cout hello in one color, and then copy and paste this. I'll put a space here, and then we'll change the color to something else, like red. 4 is red. Cout world. And that'll be hello in green and world in red. It'll look like Christmas. Oh, nice job. So there you go.